Yo, what is going on, y'all? Jay Trades here, and in today's video I'll be showing you guys how to make the best Webull setup for all you day traders or swing traders out there that are looking into using Webull or a brokerage to trade stocks and make some big money. So without further ado, let's get straight into the video. Alright, so first off, you can see this is my setup right here. It's pretty clean setup. I do have the charts and everything right here where you can make it full charts. But I'm going to show you guys how to make your own template so you guys can just customize it the way you guys like it. So first off, obviously you want to make sure you have a Webull account, and in order to do so you got to sign up for an account obviously, and in order to trade stocks you guys know you have to have a brokerage, which is a middleman between you and basically the stock place. So anyway, sign up with the link down below. It is an affiliate link, just to let you guys know. So when you guys do sign up, you guys do need to get extra stocks so you guys can actually trade and start trading with, you know, just stocks that are already in your account, so you guys don't have to even fund your account. But if you guys do fund your account, of course you guys get even more benefits. So without further ado, let's jump straight into the show. So first off, we're gonna go into the customize section over here. This is mainly where you're gonna be putting your layouts and choosing layouts and presets, things like that. Usually I have my thing just in starter, but it's up to you how you guys want to do it. Of course, Webull on desktop will look different than Webull on your, for example, phone or a mobile app. So just keep that in mind. But so this is the choose the layout place where you basically choose the default layouts that you guys want that come from Webull. So Webull has a normal layout, the day traders one, the multi-charts, crypto, options trading, which is mainly what I do on this YouTube channel. I mainly do day option trades. So basically I sell and buy in the same day with option contracts rather than just holding normal shares of a stock or swing trading. It's up to you guys. You guys can check out all these layouts over here, but to start off and show you guys how I want to have my layout, I'm just gonna open a blank layout. So once you click blank layout, basically what you have here is where you can add tons of widgets. Widgets are things where you're gonna be putting on your screen to see what you're looking for and what you want. So the first widget that I usually have would be like my stock market or watch list on the left side. So I want to go over here. If you go to general over here, you see watch list right here. Click on it, and here's your watch list right here. So this is basically where you want to put all the stocks that you're interested in looking at on the far left side or the right side, depending on what's comfortable with you. For me personally, I like to keep it on the left side because I'm a right-handy person, so I just, it's just easier to trade on the right side. So I keep this watch list on the left side. This is what I usually have on my side, where I just have the symbol and the price change. That is all I have on mine. So, and here are the stocks that I like to have on my watch list. So first off, the NASDAQ. This is one of the biggest stocks you need to know about, basically. So this is an ETF, or not, it's not an ETF, but this is basically a big stock you gotta know about. Have that on the very top right there. You got the S&P 500, which is also known as the SPX. S&P 500 is a smaller ETF for people that have less money to trade in the SPX. So I have that up there. And then next we'll have SPY, which is basically what I mainly trade. I mainly focus on SPY on this YouTube channel. Of course, other stocks, they usually play the same way, but SPY is just more consistent of a stock. It's just a lot easier to focus and follow trends and such, less gaps, things like that. So SPY is next. Then after SPY is basically all sorts of the top stocks right here. So mostly of them are tech stocks, which obviously boom the market. So you guys, if you guys didn't know, S&P 500 is basically the top 500 companies that are best performing in the market, all put into one stock to average out. So usually these other stocks do need to follow the S&P 500, but it's not always the case. So anyway, I can always show you guys more examples of that in the future, but for the sake of this video, I'm just basically show you guys all the other big stocks I have on here. So I got Nvidia, Tesla, Microsoft, Meta, which is Facebook if you guys did not know, Apple, Netflix, Google, which is Alphabet as well, Amazon. I have Boeing. Sometimes I play Boeing, though Boeing is super rare. Like Boeing, usually I don't really play it that much unless there's a big news or something about Boeing. Like for example, I think there was one big rocket change over here. It was like it hit a new high in a long time. Right here on this day, 113. It hit a brand new high up here, which has never hit before, and it hit another high over here. Oh, here's the high I was looking for right here. This high right here, 221. That was one of the biggest highs that it's hit because of great earnings and such. And I think it was a high of 52 weeks. So that's a big record there. But anyway, nonetheless, AMD, we got Bitcoin, we got the crypto down here. I like to keep crypto down here because I usually don't really trade crypto like that. So keep the crypto down here, not that necessary. Mara, this is one of the crypto mining companies. I like to keep Mara on here because I've noticed Mara has very high potential in the future, as you guys can see how it was recently. a few weeks ago, a few months ago, it was at $3. Now it's already at $7. It's making its way come back. So I keep that in mind. I like to keep more on my watch list just in case to see how it moves. This is just another crypto I was just looking into, honestly. You can add whatever you want to your watch list. QQQ, I was drawing some trend lines here. This thing definitely broke the trend. So yeah, as you see, definitely broke the trend right here. So it's kind of useless now. But SQQ, which is the inverse of QQQ, basically shorting QQQ, triple leverage here. And add the US dollar right here, as well as VIX. US dollar, basically the higher the dollar goes, the higher inflation is. That's just how it works. So higher the dollar goes, the worse the economy usually is. VIX is the volatility market index. So this tells you roughly how greedy or how fearful people are in the market. So the higher VIX is, the more scared people are of the market, the more likely the market will make bigger volatile moves and most likely drop. But it's not always the case. So these are just things to, just good things to look at, but most of the time when I do trade a stock, I mainly focus on that one stock specifically, so I don't get distracted by any other factors like those. But nonetheless, let's look at the next thing I add charts. So charts is indeed very important. So you also want to add a chart. So if you go here, sure, if you go somewhere here, quote, you get charts. Now here's a chart right here. So I usually like to make my chart pretty big, as you guys can see right here. So you always go in the corners, drag it out. However, whatever size feels comfortable for you guys, stick with that size. Because not everyone trades the same. Not everyone likes the same size. Not everyone likes the same exact thing. So just go on the size that you guys do prefer. So this is the size I do prefer. I think it's a good balance between everything. Where I have my option contracts on the right, which I'll talk about a bit later. I'm not going to explain too much into what contracts for options really is in this video. Mainly show you guys the layout for this, but nonetheless, this is my chart right here. I usually just have one chart, but once I really get into a position or entry, I do start going to 2 charts and 4 charts and etc. So just to let you guys know that you guys can change the charts and grids up here where you guys switch to 1 or 2 charts. But here's my chart right here. Mainly right here I do my indicators. I have my WAP and many other lines right here, as you guys can see. So that's good to know. EMA, these lines are pretty important. These are indicators, but I don't use these indicators that much. I just like to see them on the map, the graph. So just a good thing to roughly just understand and know about. On the bottom here are the volume candles right here, showing how much volume there is for each candle when it's going. So this is very important right here, the volume. You gotta make sure that you have that thing up there, because sometimes when you go too small, it disappears. So you want to make sure you can see the volume bars, because those are really helpful when it comes to momentum pushes and things like that, when to enter, when to exit. So quarter, year, usually I don't really use the quarter and year stuff, but sometimes I do want to look at the general trend of a stock. I will look at year, but most of the times I stick with my 1 minute to 4 hour chart when I'm trading. And of course day, if you want to look at previous days, but usually it's just 1 to 4 hours when I'm trading. So because when you're on 4 hours, you can also see it other days. It's just a 4-hour candle. That's what it means. So, those are very important. It's very important to know what time or how the candles close on each of these time frames, because that basically helps you determine when to enter, when to exit, and what the stock is basically going in, what direction it's trying to go into. So that's good to know. Up here, you guys do see indicator values that have the EMA, things like that. These, I just hide those values. Doesn't not really matter to me at all. It just takes up space on the screen. I just like to see the lines on here. Basically, when you hover over each one of these, it will show volume up here, as you guys can see. Here's the high. Of course, you can hide this thing right here if you want, but I just keep it on because I think it's very helpful. Click on this menu. I like to show all these honestly over here. Usually I just mainly look at the volume, but sometimes it's good to see what percent change in each candle, the low, high, middle, things like that, open, close right here. So yeah, just the really good things to honestly just know about and keep in mind. So aside from that, next thing I do have news on the bottom. So I'm sure if you add a widget, you can find news somewhere. Let's see, you go to all widgets and you can find news somewhere here, right here, news, perfect. News, honestly, I think this is really important to have. I used to not use news at all, but honestly at some point, sometimes you do need to know what's going on in the market in terms of news. You want to keep that up. So I have news somewhere here, roughly, put it down here. Not insanely important when it comes to intraday trading, but it's definitely very important when it comes to knowing when things come out, if there's new information, things like that. Maybe FOMC meetings, CPI reports, very important. Those things definitely move the market by a lot. So, and also these news also do directly correlate with certain stocks. So if you see I switch to different stocks, this changes the news on the stock. So as you guys can see, all these news does indeed affect the market most of the time. So you want to look at the news and see what the general trend is. Let's say the news is saying really good stuff. News is obviously sometimes tricks retail traders into taking a position that big institutions don't want you to take or want you to take, but then they go the opposite way, so it's not always accurate. But I will say it's really good to know the general trend of a stock. For example, if Tesla comes out with really good news, I would obviously, or CPI, or just some really good sales report for Tesla earnings quarterly, I believe, then you would also want to look into more of the call side, buying shares rather than shorting the stock, because that's you just get a higher probability chance play over there when you do calls rather than puts, especially when there's good news coming out like that. But aside from that, that's news right here. I like to keep news very small. Of course, you can drag it down to see more of the news, but I just like to keep it small. Usually the top thing right here is the most important thing. So right here, very important news right here. Next, I do have my positions. So if you go back here, we can add another thing right here. Let's check out. Let's see. Positions is somewhere in here. Positions. Boom. So right here, I like to, put my positions underneath my news. So let's see. Let's put this thing. Let's see. I'm trying to minimize this thing. I don't remember how I did it, but anyway, point is, I'm sure you can just put news and positions together if you want, like this, back and forth. I personally just like to separate them, put them below each other. So positions will be below. That basically means once I enter a trade, it will show the position, what my profit P&L is, my percent profit to loss ratio, all that good stuff you guys definitely want to know and keep in mind when you're trading. So all that good stuff will be shown there, so that's really good to know. Now after you do have that, what you want to do is have your option chart. Or if you're not doing option trading, you don't have to have this. You would rather have like a normal chart, but obviously this is not the right chart. Let me get rid of this real quick. Let's get rid of this real quick. Okay, this thing is not wanting to get rid of itself. Right here, remove chart right there. Okay, but basically what you want to do is you want to have the option chain up. So if you go here, quotes, you go to options. Here is basically where you start picking the option contracts you want to play. Now this doesn't apply if you're just doing normal shares and stuff, but if you're doing options, you definitely want to have this thing. This thing is crucial. You have to have this thing up here, otherwise you're not going to be able to do options. So what I usually like to do is I just put on the right side, right, somewhere that's convenient for me. Honestly, I just like to keep not too much of it, but just keep it so that I can see basically the open interest. I like to see open interest, bid and ask. That's all I want to see when I usually look at the option contract chart. I just need a date, strike number, open interest, bid ask. That's all I need to know about. These other numbers over here, implied volume, that's somewhat important. Last, mid price, these things are alright, but it's not like that's going to make a game changer in terms of picking contracts. Again, the most important part about trading is entering and exiting. So these things are so small factors that they're not going to make you a profitable or loss trader. So just keep that in mind. Theta is basically time decay in the contracts. These, I wouldn't really look at theta that much unless you're swing trading, because theta roughly in one day is going to be roughly the same. If you guys understand in the money, at the money, or out of the money contracts, you guys will understand how theta works against those. So that's not super important to me. I don't really care. That's not really a factor for me. The main thing I look at is open interest, because that basically shows how many people are currently in this option contract. So there's a lot of open interest. That means the spread between the bid and ask price will be much smaller, and when there's a smaller spread, that means you will get a much better fill. So you won't be filling out huge ranges of prices where you sell at 15% and you actually sell at 8% or 5%, or sometimes even worse. This happened to me where I sold at even worse because it was just not a good open interest contract. So you always want to make sure that you have high open interest. I like to see usually 4K or above on open interest, or just look at it proportionally, looking at the other sides, seeing how they are looking. But aside from that, basically, yeah, here's my setup right here. On the right, I do have quotes, so you can add quotes to the stock that you're currently trading. So let's see if there's quotes on here. Quotes should be somewhere in here, right here. Quotes. This is the quote, the information about the specific stock you're currently trading. So right here, right here. This will change every time you switch to a new stock. If I try, let's see if I can try here. Okay, it's not working over here, but it should work. When you click on a new stock, it should switch all of them at the same time. But anyway, here's the quotes. I like to just usually have it open just a little bit. The main thing is I really want to look at on the quotes, honestly, is just the open, low, the high, and then the volume. Volume is the most important part. The volume, you want to see high volume on the stock before you trade that, so I like to see volume there. After is the aftermarket or pre-market, if you guys want to call that. And yeah, so that's all statistics about the stock. This is super important. You must have that on there for sure. And then let's see, next I do have my order book level 2. You do have to pay $2.99 a month on Webull for the order book level 2 data, but it's definitely worth it because it helps with momentum pushes when you start trading. So I would highly recommend you guys trying out the level 2. It's only $2.99 a month, don't forget that. When you use level 2, it will definitely, you would very easily make that money back every month if you're a profitable trader. Super easy. It's a no-brainer for sure to get level 2. So there's that. Of course, I'm not sponsored out to say any of this. I'm just saying I'm not sponsored at all. In times in sales, this is basically level 2, but just not so good. Level 2 is way more specific, way better. Tells you the volume of every single buy, so things like that. Very important stuff. And then option statistics. Basically, this is where you see calls and puts ratio. I like to keep this thing on here just to look at it sometimes. I know you can see it over here, but I just like to see it in this format over here. It's much easier to see what most people are playing, what side most people are looking at. Last but not least, I have active trade and normal trade. So this is of course a widget you guys can add over here. If you can find trade somewhere. Okay, here it is. You can have active trade or classic trade. Now I have both of these right here, back to back, classic and active trade. For active trade, this is basically for those that like to do day trading because you can go in and out really fast with active trade. All you gotta do is click a button, it buys it at ask or bid, and then click a button, it sells it immediately. So that's a really convenient factor in active trade. And trade, the classic trade, this is more specific and takes a bit longer to get your order in or just put in your order. But this is more specific. You can tailor it to like a limit fill versus if you do buy at ask. Now it is a limit fill technically, but you can't be specific about that. So if you want to do limit fills, you can definitely do it in classic only. Again, I wouldn't recommend this for day trading. Honestly, use active trade for day trading. But if you just want to get a very specific price or something like that, you want to swing trade, classic trade is completely fine, honestly. In my opinion, it won't make that big of a difference, but that's up to you guys again at the end of the day. So market or limits, limit price, you can have a stop loss also in classic trade if you want, things like that. Take profit percent. Usually I don't like to have a manual one because I like to see the chart and how it moves rather than selling at a specific percent, because the stock market does not care what percent you're at right now. They do not care. They're looking at the big picture. So I don't have stop loss or take profit on at all over there. Here, order settings over here, I put 32, or just put however many shares you want to get. This basically updates everything over here. Of course, usually for option trading, I think you can only do number of shares. You can't do percent or dollar amount. It just doesn't work with numbers like that. So you just put a number of like how many shares you want to own, basically of a contract right here. But if you want to check out my settings right here, here's my active trade settings. What I have is buy bid, buy ask, sell market. These three is all you need. And of course the quantities, that's really important. And cancel stocks if you just want to cancel an order. But basically I don't have buy market. You guys may be wondering why. Buy market does not work for option trading on most stocks on Webull, which is completely fine. So I like to buy ask. And besides, buy ask is usually much quicker. You get much quicker and faster guaranteed fills with buy ask than buy market. So I like to have buy ask and no limit offset for me. I think it's completely fine. It registers every single time. I don't have to worry about making a position even worse. So buy bid if I want to take a slow trade. If I see this trade, consolidating or something like that, I would buy bid because it has a chance to go down, pull back, and then go back up again, so it hits my order fill. Otherwise, if it's big momentum, always go for buy ask, because if you don't want to take the risk of buying bid and then it momentum's up and never comes back down, and you never get your order filled. Sell market, obviously the fastest way to get your order filled. I wouldn't recommend selling limit or anything like that, especially for beginners, because it's not gonna make that big of a difference. And small movements like that, really fast in the market, especially day trading, you want to sell market immediately. So that's that over here. I don't have much else on here, honestly. So you guys can see, you can search up here for stocks if you're interested. But I want to show you guys something real quick before I end this video, because that's about it for basically for everything you guys really gotta know. Basics of day trading, even trading in general. I explained a good amount of terms in this video, but let's say, for example, I'm about to get into this position right here. Click on this position. Let's say I want to buy a certain number of contracts. Obviously I'm not gonna buy it because I just don't want to buy it right now, what I'm saying. But let's say I do want to buy, I do buy it right here, and then look, once I buy it, this chart turns into the option contract chart. I don't want to see this chart right here. So you know what I do usually? Well, let's go back here. I click on grid and I go to 2 charts or 4 charts. Usually I like to go for 2 charts. This is basically where I can click on the second chart, click on the option contract, and boom, I can see the contract price moving, how it's moving while also looking at the stock movement. So this way I can see side by side. Some people don't like this, some people like this, but I only have one monitor, so I just have to work with whatever I got right here, which is completely fine with me. But yeah, here's that. Basically, if you guys were wondering how you look at both at one time or look at the graph while looking at that, you can also indeed, I believe, put the same exact stock again on, and you can change the time interval of each graph. So that's really nice of how Webull has this feature. You can look at the 15-minute chart here, and then look over here, I could do the 1-minute chart. So I can, rather than switching back and forth clicking these buttons, I could look at all of them at the same time, which is really helpful when you're trading. However, this is a little too small for me. In my opinion, it's really hard to tell. So I actually like to stick with just 2 graphs. Option contract when I'm in versus, you know, just looking at the typical graph. So before I even get into a contract, I'll just have the graph out here so I can look at it much easier. Once I'm in, I would have it split into 2 screens so I can see how contracts move at certain prices, things like that. So that's going to be basically it for this video. It's a pretty long video, but hope you guys did enjoy today's video. I do have a free Discord group down below in the description, as well as a paid group if you guys are interested in looking at my signals. You guys want to learn, have some daily lessons. I will have basically weekly lessons I'll try to in the Discord paid server, as well as signals of when I'm entering, when I'm exiting. So if you guys always wanted to know when to exit or when to enter and you're a beginner, I would definitely highly recommend checking out my paid server, as it has way more information. My open free server doesn't have much stuff in there. It's honestly more so just a community for you guys to hang out and talk about stocks. But aside from that, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure to leave a like down below, and as well as sign up for Webull if you haven't, with the link down below to get your free stocks. And I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.